Now, the question we need to know and the question the world wants to know, how do we deal with Donald Trump? Yesterday I could not believe it when he says, and the way he speaks. So there are many things. There are the way he speaks and the decisions he takes. 25% plus 10%, and then as if that is not enough, then you go and call the Indian economic policy, tariff issues obnoxious. As if that is not enough, you say, I am going to help dig oil in Pakistan. I think Pakistan will one day export oil to India. And that is not enough. Then another post on Truth Social saying that I don't care about the dead economy of India and the dead economy of Russia. Good luck to them, etc. So it's... it seems petty, of course. There are a lot of people who say ignore him, but then we can't ignore the economics behind it.
大家好，我是老吴。今天我们来看一段非常有意思的对话。就在前2天，印度那位著名的甲亢哥主持人阿纳布，在他的节目里采访了一位印度传奇人物，他就是印度科塔克银行的创始人乌代科塔克先生。我之前做过几期印度甲亢哥的节目，大家应该都熟悉他那种打了鸡血一样的风格。但在这场对话里发生了一件很有趣的事儿。当甲亢哥不断追问面对特朗普机械施压，印度到底有什么筹码可以反击时，这位印度传奇银行家给出了一个让甲亢哥非常抑郁的建议：去和中国搞好经济关系。这个建议无疑是告诉所有狂热的印度人，面对美国的压力，你们的一条重要出路就是向中国放低姿态。那么科塔克到底是怎么说的，能让印度甲亢哥不再亢奋呢？我们一起来听一听。
So can I have your overall understanding and sense of the situation and how you would have dealt with it, sir, if you were in government, and what you feel about the way the Modi government is dealing with this present situation, sir? Thank you, sir.
Arnab, I believe in a first principle, simple line. Power is power. And Donald Trump has inherited US power. It is the power of the US dollar, it's the power of the US financial system, it's the power of the US military, it's the power of US hegemony in terms of being the largest economy in the world. It has happened over a long period of time. Donald Trump is sitting on that seat and leveraging that. You can do it in the short run. And he's doing it in the short run. I genuinely believe over time, there's a very important aspect of trust. Why do people put money in dollars? They trust it. And trust takes a long time to build, but can be eroded very fast. And I genuinely feel that the approach which the US has taken may serve it in the short run. But in the long run, it will have a price which the United States of America will pay to the world. And I genuinely feel the US in many ways is playing into China's hands. And what we have to watch out for is in this battle, we are still an emerging power. There is a large power which is the US, the second largest power which is China. How do we as an emerging power do not get caught in this crossfire and find our own journey independent of these two, at the same time realizing that this is a global chessboard? One of our challenges is we have a certain important agenda, which I always call is the domestic political economy.
Political agenda, yes.
And then there is a global agenda. At times, the narratives between the two have to be distinct. And we should not be caught in the middle of these two narratives in terms of deciding what is right for us. And Donald Trump knows what India does not like. He has kept on poking that, hyphenating Pakistan and India, because he knows what is irritating Indians. We should not fall to his bait. We should be clear that there are areas we may have to agree. And there are areas we will have to take a position. But either way, I think we've also got to be clear. The man has huge ego.
Yeah, we know
Somebody is going to take care of that. and make sure that we are playing to it in a manner which is not inconsistent with our domestic objectives. But playing to his ego is an important part of the narrative. You're seeing a world of strong men, okay? And in many countries. And you just saw the way he annihilated Europe in the negotiation. Europe gave away a lot, had to say zero duty for US goods into Europe against 15% duty on European goods into US. I don't think Europeans are happy, but they gave in. The only people who are standing tough against Trump at this stage, and I'm keeping India as a separate discussion, is China. Because China has something to give. US needed the rare earths. US needs things from China because otherwise the domestic economy slows down. Therefore, I am a genuine believer that finally power is power, and India has to dramatically increase its speed for building our raw power. And we, on the economic side, have a lot to do to turbocharge India's growth.
What do we have leverage with vis-a-vis Trump? There must be something he wants from us. Now, we can't give in on everything on agriculture because we have our own domestic interests, not just our domestic politics to take care of. And he's pushing agriculture. He's pushing dairy products. We have our farmers. We have our Amul. We have our local interests, which we also need to protect. How do we balance it out? Because he's going to be unrelenting here on. And how much can this hit India if this continues unresolved?
This is a game of chess. What stops India from posturing for a better economic relationship with China?
Our strategic relationship has not been seen to be very good.
I'm talking about economic relationship.
Can you separate the two?
My view is we have to play the cards which will make the US uncomfortable. And economics, China has $100 billion trade surplus with us. We have taken a strategic call that we will get closer to the US and to that extent be a little distant from China. But if US is going the way it is, we have to find what makes sense for us. Finally, it is self-interest.
But if they have $100 billion trade surplus with us, is it Chinese leverage on us or our leverage on China?
But China already has that.
They already have it.
So
aren't we supposed to reduce it?
How will you reduce it? Now you will have a challenge.
Shouldn't we do that?
But that is back to domestic manufacturing.
Yes.
I mean, India imports Ganeshas and Rakhis.
Yes. Shouldn't we stop doing that?
But then we have to produce cheaper here.
Can we produce cheaper here?
We should. And
mixers, grinders, Ganeshas,
absolutely.
Rakhis, everything.
What can India do to make things in time, that is return on time invested, and more productively and cheaper?
But that will take time.
But you have to start.
But do we have that time with Trump also breathing down our neck from the other side?
What's our choice?
What's our choice? Do we have a choice?
We have to go whole hog turbocharge. If necessary, the government has to give steroids for building.
What steroids would that be?
I would say give capital support to mid-sector
Do
manufacturing.
we have that level of capital available?
I think the government has to give it out of the budgets. One of the great things India has done in the last few years is phenomenal macroeconomic stability. Great control over fiscal deficit. We got to manage that. I think there have been many areas of success on our macroeconomic side. We have to use that leverage to turbocharge India's businesses.
But you're also walking a thin line geostrategically. You mentioned domestic politics to be one thing and international economics on the other.
Yeah.
May I add a third dimension, which is geostrategic stability? We've been through Operation Sindoor. We don't like the hyphenation with Pakistan. It's unfair. But the fact is that we have a long border with China. We have a long, troublesome border with Pakistan, right? And a line of control. We have to hold our own. We are in no camp, right? And we are still a few years away from getting to that level of defense production and capacity that we should to counter China completely. So what do we need to do? I mean, I think this government's got a lot to do in the next 2 or 3 years.
Arnab, the biggest strength India has is its domestic part of the economy. Our international part of the economy is much smaller than a China, a Japan, Middle East, or any other country. And fortunately, oil prices are low. So we are in a reasonably good macroeconomic situation. And this is the time to turbocharge at steroids India's domestic economy, finance it, grow it, and relentlessly focus.
Keep buying oil from Russia.
I don't know the impact of that. That's a matter of negotiation.
What would you do?
It depends on what the terms of sanction are. So that's a simple trade call.
But then you'll spoil the relationship with Russia if you relent there.
Look, you have to figure out what it costs. Finally, we have to do our self-interest. Go back to cash flow. How much is the cash flow you'll give up for what? And that's the trade you have to calculate very carefully and very smartly and succinctly.
Do you think we're in for rough weather in the next 2-3 years?
I would like every Indian to assume we will be in rough weather and prepare to do very well in rough weather. Men and women and strength are built not in good weather. It's built when the going gets tough.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the going gets tough, tough get going. Indians must wake up. We should get out of our comfort zone that everything is great, even if it is. Let us have a sense of a paranoia. Okay, India is going to be getting attacked from the global side. What are we doing? How are we shaking ourselves? And it takes me back to the 80s and 90s when many of us were very insecure about India's future.
Yes.
And we were convinced we'll build it. You remember in 1992, when India first started opening up, there was this so-called Bombay Club worried about being attacked by the foreigners.
Yeah.
But that same Bombay Club and manufacturers, whether it's Tatas, Mahindras, Bharat Forge and Kalyanis, Bajaj, they all woke up, and by year 2000, Indian manufacturers started competing with the best in the world. So where is that sense of paranoia in every Indian? I genuinely believe Indians should get out of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is the time for Indians to wake up and say, next 2 or 3 years are tough for us.
I almost think you're like a prophet. Do you see this coming 2 years back when you came to my event? Mr. Kotak came to my event 2 years back and he said, de-dollarization. And I said, many people said, is Mr. Kotak overreacting? When he said that, and his words were, the US dollar is acting like a vacuum pump, sucking capital out of the emerging markets. Stop being dependent on the US dollar. Now, this is what he said 2 years back. And so he's like, I thought, is he being paranoid? But now when I see Trump doing the kind of things that he does, probably you factored in that a day will come when India's growth will be disliked by other countries.
Absolutely.
We have been in the wrong view that the world will like our growth, because when we move from middle to great, the world will see us not with curiosity but as an enemy.
Yes.
And that is beginning to happen. So, and we saw that when the BRICS meeting happened recently, Trump immediately reacted. All of you people in BRICS will be given 10% plus penalties. You spoke about these alternate financial instruments. And Trump, you mention an alternative financial instrument like a BRICS currency, and he throws a fit. We've seen this happening. So something interesting is happening to the world where Trump is saying, America, America, MAGA, MAGA, dollar, dollar. And the rest of the world is saying, no, we need to come together because we are not here to make America great again. We are here to make Indonesia great again, to make India great again, to make Malaysia great again. So what is your take on where you stand on the de-dollarization idea? In layman terms, what would it mean in today's context, 2025?
I think every major sovereign in the world is concerned about his or her surpluses in the US dollar. Unfortunately, there are not too many alternatives. But as if the US does not play its cards well and people start losing trust, say, for example, inflation goes up and that creates some pressure, and US does not increase its US interest rates as much, or the dollar goes weak. It's a very heavily over-borrowed country. Okay? We have to play to our strength, and the world is looking for alternative currency as a safe haven. Therefore, the money is moving in gold. That's why the money is moving in crypto to a certain extent. People are looking for alternatives outside the US dollar. Build our strength, build our domestic economy, I don't think we should be satisfied with growth at 6 or 6.5. Time has come for us to
What
look.
takes us to 9, 10, which we need
That's what we need. And we need to, every Indian needs to get out of his or her comfort zone. Even if we are doing well, let us shake ourselves that next 2 or 3 years, we have to really go after it on the assumption that we will have tough times. I'm not saying we will have tough times, but if we assume we have tough times, it will harden us and wake us up, to shake us up, that India needs the mojo seriously.
好，印度甲亢哥和乌代科塔克先生的对话就到这里。这段对话我觉得非常有代表性。印度甲亢哥的状态说明他对印度的困境心知肚明，清楚自己的国家面临着巨大的问题，但有种希望在外部找到一条捷径，一个神奇的筹码来解决所有的问题。而科塔克则代表了一种更务实、更冷酷的逻辑。他反复强调一个核心观点：印度所有问题的根源都在于自身实力不足，不要总想着向外找答案。所以当甲亢哥问他有什么牌可以打的时候，他才给出了那个最扎心的答案：去和中国搞好关系。这背后的潜台词就是在美国的压力面前，印度需要向中国寻求战略空间。而且有意思的是，他直接点出了特朗普的行为实际上是正中中国下怀。最后他给所有印度人开了一剂猛药：别再自我感觉良好了，都给我醒醒吧。好，今天的分享就到这里，感谢大家收看，咱们下次再见。